Okay, let's look at 1.6. 1.6 is about dividing really big numbers, which means probably crazier multiplication when you're trying to figure out what can divide into it. Okay, and then it also has some mystery word problems, which are just word problems either asking you to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Okay, so first let's look at this big old number. We say 24 goes into 10. No, it doesn't. It never does. So we have to see 24 times what gives you close to 109. Well, I don't know. Let's just try 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 6. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 96. Okay, but we need 109. So I think 24 times 5, let's see if that's too much, if it goes over 109. If you can do it in your face, go for it. Do it right now. Just say 96 plus 24, and you'll get the same thing I'm about to get. Okay, so 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. And then 5 times 2 is 10. Add that 2 is 120. Oh, no. That's too big because we were not supposed to go above 109. So 24 can go into 109 4 times. And you don't put the 4 above the 1 or the 10 or the 0. You put it over the last number of what you're looking for. So since I was looking for 109, you put that 4 on top of the 9. Okay, then we say 4 times 24, and we already did that. 4 times 24 is 96. And then we subtract down. 9 minus 6 is 3. Then 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay, bring down your next number. 5. Okay, let's hear. We know 24 times 5 is 120. Why don't we try 24 times 6? And you might be able to do it in your face right now. If you just take this 120 and add 24, you'll get the same thing I'm about to get. So 4 times 6 is 24. Write down the 4, carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Hey, darn it, that's too big. We're not supposed to go above 135. So it's not going to be 24 times 6 that we use. It's going to be 24 times 5 that we use. So let's write a 5 on top. And then 5 on top times all that stuff. We write it down. 5 times 24 is 5 times 24, 120. And then let's subtract down. 5 minus 0, 5. 3 minus 2, 1. 0 minus 0, gone. 1 minus 1, gone. Okay, bring down the next number, 8. All right. 24 goes into 158. It's either 6 or something above it. If you want to figure out what 24 times 7 is, in your face, you could just add 24 right now. And we get 4 times 4 is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. 1. Ah, man. Okay, so this would be the 24 times 7. The 168. But that's too big because we can't go over 158. So I'm not going to use the 24 times 7. I'm just going to use the 24 times 6. So I put the 6 on the top. Then 6 times 24 is 144. And then let's subtract down. 8 minus 4, 4. 5 minus 4, 1. 1 minus 1, 0. All right, so we get 456. Remainder 14. All right, let's look at the next one. Ooh, it's kind of rough. 620. Okay, the question I gotta ask myself is 620 can go into 4 how many times? Well, it can't. So maybe 620 can go into 40. No, it still can't. 620 could go into 403. No, it can't. No. We need something bigger than 620. So 620 can go into 403. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Let's try a couple 620s. Let's try 620 times, I don't know, let's just try 5. Okay, 5 times 0, 0. 5 times 2, 0. Carry the 1. 5 times 6, 30, plus 1 is 3,100. Okay. Well, I need 4,000. And we're not even there yet. So, I think I'm just going to do that thing I was whispering at you earlier. And I'm just going to try and add it. Instead of doing multiplication 1,000 times, let's just add over and over. Okay, so if I add 620, you get 0,273. And that we just did, that 3,720, that's times 6, because we first did 620 times 5, then we added another 620 on it, so that's times 6. Okay, let's add another 620. Okay, when we get to the 7 and the 6, 7 plus 6 is 13. So you write down the 3 and carry the 1. Then 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay, so that gets me to 4,000, but it gets me too high. I need to be lower than that. So this 4,340, that's times 7. Because every time you add, it's times another. So 7 is too high, so I think I'm going to stick with the 6. And 6 times 620 was not this 3,100. It was this 3,720. Okay, and remember that 6 that we write, we don't write it on top of the 4 or the 0 or the 3. Since we were trying to get 4,030, like we were trying to get to that 0, that's the last digit of my number. That's what I put my 6 on top of. Okay, let's subtract. 0 minus 0, 0. 3 minus 2, 1. 40 minus 37, 3. Bring down your next 0. Okay, how can we get to 3,100? Well, it's right here. 5. 5 gets us exactly to 3,100. So I'm going to put a 5. Then I'm going to say 5 times 620 is 3,100. Yeah. Then I'm going to subtract down. And holy poop, I have a remainder of 0. I have 1 0 left. So since I have 1 0 left and a remainder of 0, this is when I can add some zeros to the top of the house. And since I have 1 0 left, I'm going to add 1 0 on top. Yay, so the remainder is 0. Okay, let's look over at these word problems. The top right says a timesmith. What? That's a guy that takes care of clocks. Has serviced, that means he touched the clocks and maybe cleaned them or replaced parts or whatever. He just made sure that they worked. So a clock guy made sure that 635 clocks worked. Then it says he has worked on 271 wall clocks and 308 table clocks. The rest were standing floor clocks. Find the number of floor clocks he worked on this year. Okay, so first off, how many total did he work on? Not the table, not the wall, not the floor. I'm talking about all of them. And it says a timesmith has serviced and repaired 635. Okay. Then it says there's 270 on the wall. 271 on the wall. Then it says there are 308 on the table. And then it says the rest were floor lamps. But then it says, or floor clocks. I don't even know what a floor clock is. Oh, like a grandfather clock. Like from Beauty and the Beast, you know? Be our guest, and that clock walks. Okay, anyway, floor clock. It says find the number of floor clocks. Well, we don't know that. Okay, so this 271, 308, and question mark, they are supposed to add up to the total. So, if they're supposed to add up to this total of 635, how do you think we get what's left over? Okay, well, we're going to take 635 and we're going to subtract off each one of these. I think I'm just going to do it slow. So 635 minus 271. And 5 minus 1 is 4. 3 minus 7 is not possible. So I need to change that 6 to a 5 and that 3 to a 13. Now 13 minus 7 is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, so I just took off the wall clocks. Yes. Now let's subtract off the table. And whatever's left should be the floor lamps. So let's see here. 4 minus 8, can't do it. So cross out that 6 next to it, write down a 5, cross out that 4, and slap a 1 in front of it. Okay, 14 minus 8 is 6. 5 minus 0, 5. 3 minus 3, go away. Okay, so the question was, find the number of floor clocks he worked on this year. He worked on 56. Okay, next word problem. And remember, these word problems could be plus, minus, multiply, or divide. Okay, let's look at this sucker. A long haul truck driver, that means like a semi-truck guy who's driving a long way, like from California to Pennsylvania or something. From one side of America to the middle. Okay, anyway, a long haul truck driver has a route that requires 1,800 miles of driving per week, or 45,000 miles each year. Find the number of weeks she drives this route each year. Okay, so how many total miles were there? Total is usually the biggest number. So let's look at our numbers. We got 1,800 and 45,000. Okay, yeah, that sucker is definitely the total. Okay, so he drove 45,000 miles. But then it says one route is 1,800 miles. Okay, then they did not ask for what's the miles of all the other routes. If it did that, we would do subtraction like we did the last problem. But it says find the number of weeks she drives this route each year. Okay, well, she drives 1,800 miles for 1 week. Okay? We want to know how many total weeks. So we want to take this 45,000 and chop it up into as many 1,800 intervals as we can. Or we want to see how many trips he can get. If one trip costs 1,800 miles and he drove 45,000 miles, we need to figure out how many times he did this 1,800 miles. So we're going to divide. And when we divide, the big number goes on the inside. The little number goes on the outside. And they're both kind of scary. Okay. And then now let's see. Let's do some multiplication. I think I'm going to do it down here in the bottom right because Let's skip that problem. Just on the notes. You still have to do it in the homework, but we've already done some, so I think you'll be okay. Okay, so let's do 1,800 times, let's try 2. Because we know 1,800 times 1 is 1,800. So 1,800 times 2 is 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 8, 16, carry the 1. So 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 8, you write down the 6 and then carry the 1. Then 2 times 1 is 2. Plus that 1 is 3. Okay? I need to try and get something with a 4 in it. 4 or 5, hopefully. Well, let's try 1,800 times 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times another 0 is still 0. 3 times 8 is 8, 16, 24. Write down the 4, carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 2 is 5. Oh man, that's too big. Oh. Okay, so since we went over this 45 to 54, we're just going to say 1,800 times 2, and that's 3,600. And remember, the 2, it doesn't go on top of the 4 or the 5. It goes on the end of what you just wrote down. So the very right side of what we just wrote down is this very last column. So that's where you're going to put the 2. Okay? Then we subtract down. And when we subtract, we get 0, 0. And then for that 45 minus 36, we can't say 5 minus 6. So we cross out the 4, put a 3. Then that 5, we cross it out and slap a 1 in front of it. So we now have 15 minus 6 is 9. And 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, now we have to ask ourselves, 1,800 times what? Oh, and let's bring down another number. 0. Okay, now we have to figure out what gets me close to 9,000. Well, we said 1,800 times 3 is 5,400. Let's try 1,800 times 5. Okay, 0 times 5, 0. 0 times 5, 0. 8 times 5, 40. So put a 0 and then carry the 4. Okay, and then we say 5 times 1 is 5. Plus that 4 is 9,000. Oh my goodness, that's what we were looking for. Look. So 1,800 goes into 9,000. 5 times. So we write 5. Then we write that 5 times 1,800 is 9,000. Subtract down, we got a remainder of 0. All right, so the question was, find the number of weeks she drives this route each year. Well, 25 weeks. All right, let's look at this last one. It says, we're talking about y'all, to complete her college education. Judy received education loans of $33, blah, 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 including interest. Find her monthly payment if the loan is to be paid off in 96 months or 8 years. Okay, so first, that word about the interest probably threw you guys. We do not have to find the interest on this money. We don't have to calculate it because it says including interest. So if you want to think that that word interest is useless, you can, because it doesn't have a point. They're just saying that that $33,000 includes all the interest that you were charged. Okay, so the total amount of her loans was $33,216. Okay, then it says find her monthly payment if the loan is to be paid off in 96 months. Okay. So let's think about this. We're trying to take this $33,000 and chop it up into 96 different pieces. And we want to know, how big are those pieces? How much money does she have to pay for every month? So when I say chop it up, it means divide. So let's divide. 33 to 16 divided by 96. Okay, 96 can for sure not go into 33. Let's see about 332. Okay,